Welcome to the show. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's episode. Today we're going to talk about the most intelligent food on the planet. I'm very excited to bring you today's show because I feel like it's a solution to a lot of problems. An easy solution to a lot of problems and a lot of opportunity to make things better for your health. Before we get into today's show, it is March 10th, and today is the first day of our 4-week astrology class. So you have a little bit more time to sign up if you want to join the class. After today, it will be closed, and I will not be doing the class live ever again. So it's going to be a really fun opportunity to learn more about yourself and the people that you love and how to communicate with them better, how to have better relationships with everyone, how to be more compassionate towards yourself, and again, know some tactics and perspectives that can help change and transform the way you feel about other people, the way yourself. And if you're interested in joining, you can go to jjflazanes.com/astrology. The link will also be in the show notes. And I will tell you that we are doing the 5-day fasting mimicking diet right now. We started yesterday. Today is day 2 in the Inner Circle membership. And again, I have 2 inner circles. So I think some of you heard that I have a mastermind and just think that is like the mastermind is $9.99, and it's not. We have a membership. And first and foremost, what's a part of that membership is a brand new podcast. So currently there are 13 episodes live since I started in December. And that podcast is only for Inner Circle members. And it's a lot more solo shows, a lot more Q&A. And Doug and I recently even went chapter by chapter, point by point in The Big Leap, which is a show that's coming out in the next couple of weeks with Gay Hendricks. Life-transforming book, The Big Leap. I read it 2 years ago, and it didn't really move me in the way that it moved me now. I was very ready for it now. And I have the whole mastermind listening to it and reading it and working on it. The whole Inner Circle membership is dealing with it. It's literally, I'm so excited to bring you the show so that you can also go out and buy your copy of The Big Leap and start reading. But if you're interested, since I know a lot of you do drive and listen to me, you can join the Inner Circle, start with episode 9, and learn about it right now and start asking yourself these questions and learning about yourself. Anyway, just food for thought. The Inner Circle is $9.99 a month, and we've got a group coaching call happening this Thursday, the 12th. We do it once a month. We also do all kinds of other fun things in the Inner Circle, which is $9.99. And the main thing about it is it's a podcast. And then on the side, it's once a month live group coaching. It's a private Facebook group. We're going to be doing a book club. We do the 5-day fasting mimicking diet every couple of months. We do our own 30-day manifestation challenge just in that group. And on that note, the next free, 100% free, 30-day manifestation challenge is April. So you need to be signed up by March 26th-ish to get in, because there are some videos that I want you to watch ahead of time to answer some of your questions. There's a couple audios to listen to get prepared. And anyway, so if anyone who's not in that group would like to join us for the next free 30-day manifestation challenge, we are starting April 1st. And you can go to jjflazanes.com/30day. That's 30DAY, or just visit jjflazanes.com, and it's in the section of free tools and resources. Today's show is going to focus on a product called ENERGYbits, and they were founded and developed by CEO Catharine Arnston. If you've come to Releasing What Weighs You Down, or if you're in the mastermind, or if you're in the Inner Circle, you've heard me talk about the bits before, and you're going to get a code for 20% off. The code is JJ. And for those of you that don't want to wait till the end because you already know, or as we start talking about it, you want to order them ASAP so that they come to you as soon as they can, go to ENERGYbits.com. I'll put a link in the show notes. So Catharine has a 30-year career as an international attaché for the Canadian and British governments, publisher of an international magazine and founder of 3 startups. But in 2009, when her younger sister was diagnosed with breast cancer and advised by her oncologist to change her diet to an alkaline one because it would help her heal, Catharine put her career on hold to help her sister. In the process, she discovered algae, the most alkaline, nutrient-dense plant in the world that no one seemed to know about. Catherine knew algae would be a game changer for the world if she could just help Americans understand it, and ENERGYbits was born. Welcome to the show, Catherine.
Thank you for having me, JJ.
Well, first of all, I just want to appreciate you and your company because we reached out to you. We learned about you through Food Heals podcast and Allison Melody. And I'd heard the show and she was taking the bits. So I reached out because I wanted to know if you wanted to contribute or be a part of my event, the Releasing What Weighs You Down event, and you and your company said yes. And so I was really happy to provide them with sample products. And in fact, I have a few left that I'm going to do a swag bag giveaway in April. So people can put in for possibly winning some of those free bits as well as some of the other things that happen. And so I've already been exposed to your product. In fact, a funny story I'll tell you later about my cat. And then I bought them from my mother. So for those of you that have been to my live event, you already had them in your hands. For the rest of you, Catherine developed a product, and I want you to tell your story about why you developed this, and then we'll go into what it is.
Sure. Okay. First of all, it's algae, just so people aren't sitting on the edge of their seat wondering whether I'm selling skyscrapers or something. And you have to sort of scratch your head and say, well, how does anybody get involved with algae? Because I'm 10 years in now, and trust me, it was not intended. I have an MBA. I was doing traditional corporate marketing. And then all of a sudden, up in Canada, my younger sister developed breast cancer, and her oncologist advised her to change her diet to an alkaline diet because it would help with her healing process. Now, they didn't tell her what an alkaline diet was, or why it worked. So she called me, and of course I had no idea either, but I love my sister, and I'm a very good researcher. So I said, hey, I have no idea, but we'll figure this out and we'll make it happen. So I dug into the good old internet and found out that an alkaline diet was basically an alkaline, a plant-based diet because of all the chlorophyll and the phytonutrients in plants that build your immune system. And she was going to go through chemo, and her doctor smartly realized that she needed to build her immune system, and the phytonutrients and chlorophyll were the best and most natural way to do that. So I spent a long time researching foods. It was also eliminating acidic foods like processed foods and sugar and all the obvious bad boys in her diet. And she did go through chemo, and she did heal, and 10 years later she is still cancer-free. And in the process of helping her, I learned about the power of plant-based nutrition. Now, you have to remember, this was 10 years ago, and nobody was talking about plant-based nutrition. So after my 10th book of reading about it and digging into the science, I thought, my gosh, someone has to tell the world about this stuff because it's pretty powerful and the evidence is there. So I had, without any background, I thought, well, I'm going to give it a shot. I don't know how I'm going to do it, or I don't have any education, but we'll just take one step at a time. I stumbled into a course called the Integrative Nutrition Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So I signed up for a certificate because I thought, well, I need some kind of background. So I did do that. And then when I graduated, I decided I would create a curriculum teaching people how to eat more greens, and I gave my lectures for free at corporations and hospitals, and it was a valuable lesson to do that because I learned that everybody knows they should eat more greens, but they don't because it's either too much work, or they don't like the flavor, or they don't want to carry them home, or the kids won't eat them, or their husbands won't eat them. So heck, how can I get people healthier with plant-based nutrition if they aren't willing to take the time to do it? So that back to the drawing board. So I went back and started researching options. And one of them was the algae tablets, which I had found for my sister, but hadn't really dug deep into it because it was just one of many things I had recommended. So I started doing more research on algae, and I was like Alice in Wonderland falling down the rabbit hole because I found that algae was the most nutrient-dense food in the world, the most alkaline food in the world, had the highest concentration of chlorophyll in the world, has been used for 50 years in Asia, where it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's the most studied food in the world. There's about 60,000 studies on chlorella, which we'll talk to you about, and about 40,000 on spirulina. So it's all evidence-based. It's on rock-solid scientific foundation. The United Nations has endorsed it as the answer to world hunger since 1974, when they held a global conference about spirulina algae. NASA has been feeding it to the astronauts for 50 years and endorses it as the most alkaline or nutrient-dense food in the world. And so the only problem with algae in America seemed to be that A, the quality wasn't very high, and B, nobody has ever explained to Americans or Canadians or anyone outside of Asia what exactly algae is, why it helps you prevent illness or correct illness, and why it's so essential to us, our lifestyle, our future, our earth, our bodies, our children, to take every day instead of maybe supplements or whatever. So I decided, I drew a line in the sand. I thought, okay, this is my mission in life. I didn't choose it, it chose me. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life helping people understand algae so that we can help prevent other people from getting ill. We can help people have more energy, more vitality. We can help our earth because it's the most sustainable crop in the world. And it's been quite an adventure. And 10 years in, I have to say that I am still stunned by all the things that algae does. And every day I learn something more about it. And there isn't a single contraindication that I have found yet. And I don't know if there's any other food, or because it's not a supplement and it's not a pill. There's no other food that has dazzled me the way that algae does. And I'll just mention, I'll hand it back to you, JJ, but I'll mention I was on Shark Tank a little while ago, and Mark Cuban said, "We don't think you're in love with being an entrepreneur. You're just in love with algae." And I had to say to him, well, you're right. I am in love with algae. And if you knew as much about algae as I did, you would be too. So that's my story.
So what happened on Shark Tank?
Oh, they didn't invest. I told them, see the chlorella, and we'll talk about the two algae. They do taste completely different, and they do completely different things in your body. And the chlorella tastes really good, especially when you eat it with almonds or sea salt or, coconut chips, something. But the spirulina, God bless spirulina, there's nothing you can do to make that stuff taste any better. So most people swallow it. So I told them, don't chew the spirulina, which is ENERGYbits or Beauty Bits. And they did, and they were making faces, and they said, oh, no one's going to buy this. This is disgusting. And they made fun of me. But you see, I know the science, and I also know it's a multi-billion-dollar industry in other countries. And so they just said that, I didn't have a business, I had a hobby, and they just basically laughed at me. So I didn't care, but you know what? I got on air, and I didn't really want their money, and they've aired my segment at least a dozen times, and I get recognized everywhere I go. So I think it's the glasses, but so I got what I wanted, which was visibility, and I was quite prepared to be made fun of, which is what they did, but it was a great experience overall. But yeah, that's what happened.
Well, I at one point I had submitted something years ago, and of course it wasn't in my zone of genius at the time. So I'm glad I didn't get on. And even if I would have, I wouldn't have wanted them to invest either, because of the big payoff that happens, a big payout, right? Sometimes it's really not worth it when you have something that is of value, and someone is only looking at it for the dollars. They're not looking at it as the mission. And that's what Shark Tank is. It's, can I make money off of this? Whether it's an actual service to humanity is a different story. I think it's a great show. I don't really watch it because we don't have TV anymore, but I'm glad you didn't, because then it would have been, in my opinion, bastardized. I think that sometimes when you get the focus of money involved to that degree, then your quality goes down. And now you're looking at just the bottom line for everything versus the bottom line of your mission. And, I'll be honest, when Allison gave me her sample pack of bits, I looked at what they were and thought, oh, I have chlorella at home. And I started taking what I had left. But then when I listened to your show, I had this feeling, this intuition that your quality was better.
Yes.
And then when I had them, I noticed there was something vibrational about it. I'm like, okay, I think her quality is better. Yes, they're more expensive, but her quality is better. So there was a trust that I had in your product compared to the chlorella that I could buy, that I had. And I had pretty good chlorella that I bought over the counter or on Amazon or wherever I got it, Whole Foods. So I will say that I think that, when it comes to mission-based entrepreneurialism, I don't think that you have a barrier. I think they provided a great platform. And, people like me, people like Allison, I know you've been on other people's shows, when we start seeing evidence of it working, when we are excited about the product, when we share, when we have, which we do, and we all have audiences, and I have a very dedicated, loyal audience, and a lot of them buy everything I tell them to buy. And it's not because I'm not telling them to buy it because I may make money on the back end. They know I'm buying it because I'm using it. Right. I don't tell anyone to buy anything I don't use. So we start there. And so I want to acknowledge that I really love both the spirulina and the chlorella products. I'm currently using the ENERGYbits, which is the combination of them. And I got them from my mom. And what's funny, I told my partner, Doug, not to chew them. And of course he read the package and he chewed them, and he looked at me with his big green teeth mouth. And I was like, why did you chew them? He's like, because it said I could chew them. And I'm like, you are so picky, just swallow them. You don't need to chew them. But he's taking them, I'm taking them. And then of course I've got cats. Now here's what's funny about my cats. I have made them homemade food. One of them, the cats really shouldn't be eating dry food. It's not good for them. It's junk food, but they love it. And I've been trying for years to get them off of dry food. And so I've made homemade food, like in every flavor form, and 2 of them will eat it and 1 won't. So I totally gave up, and I'm like, all I want to do is give you good nutrition in some form. So what happens? I drop some bits on the floor, and the one cat that I've been trying to get to eat well loves them. She goes crazy for them. Like she will stand at my desk, and it's amazing because I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. So I literally bought the ENERGYbits for my cat.
Well, we're going to get you some more.
Oh my God. It was amazing. And still to this day, now I have some foster cats. I put them on the floor hoping everyone else will eat them too. And the rest of them look at Domino like, I don't know why you like these, but she loves them. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the rest of them don't want them.
Really?
No, I haven't tried putting them in the food. I just put them on the floor, but she goes nuts. So if you have an animal out there who you want to give good nutrition to, that you want to get more alkaline, that you want to have better protein source, you want to get greens in them because it's great for immunity and antioxidants. I'm telling you, try giving your animals bits because I would never have thought to do it if I hadn't dropped them on the floor. Right. And she beelined for them. And still to this day, she loves them. That's the best possible treat I could give her. So thank you. I never would have otherwise discovered, I would never would have thought to give her a green supplement food algae. I never would have thought of it.
Yeah. Well, we do try to encourage everyone to share them with their pets. And I'm very proud that I'm a little stunned that the other 2 cats aren't interested, because consistently 100% of the time, the animals go crazy over them because, as you pointed out, and we'll talk about what the algae does for your health and for your pet, because they're quite different, the 2 algae. And I've taken great pride because in the quality, because as you recall, I started this to help my sister, and then I just thought, well, I could help more people. So making money has never been my goal. Making a difference has always been my mission. And I've turned down venture capital. I've turned down outside investors because I didn't want to have any challenges to my quality and my long-term vision. But I'm always so proud when the animals love the product, because you can't fool animals. They know what's good for them, and so they really go. We've had really funny stories I can share with you later if you want about some of our customers' pets, and even our staff, their pets all love them as well.
Well, we can find a way to get the other ones to eat it. So let's start back with, now that we've shared the story, I wanted people to understand the genesis of this product, not just the fact that it's a product. Again, it's a food. And I know you don't like to call it a supplement because it's not a pill per se, but I do encourage people to swallow it, not to chew it.
Yeah.
So just to be safe, although, I know spirulina doesn't taste good in chlorella might, I didn't chew them, but to me, it's just so easy and fast and so small. So let's go back to the science of algae in general. And I know you've talked about that it's the oldest food on the planet. And let's talk about whichever one you want to do first, spirulina or chlorella.
Sure. Well, let's start with spirulina because it was the first life on Earth 3.5, almost 4 billion years ago, and they have fossils to prove it. So I tell people there's got to be something kind of mystical that was the first life on Earth, and it's still here after multiple ice ages, and it outlived the dinosaurs. Algae is a food group. So let's start there. So, you have fruits and vegetables, and algae is a food group as well. And it subdivides into 2 sub-food groups, which are seaweed, which comes from the ocean, and microalgae. Now, I will admit microalgae initially started in the ocean, and there are thousands and thousands of strains of it still in the ocean and lakes and earth and everything. But the 2 that are harvested for consumption are spirulina and chlorella. So they are grown in fresh water. So it's called hydroponically grown, and you grow kale or tomatoes or whatever the same way. So it is important. I do make the distinction that it is food, not a supplement, because supplements are made from extracts, many of them artificial, and they're produced in a production facility or a manufacturing plant. And algae, our algae, and pretty much every algae, the spirulina chlorella you'll eat, is a harvested crop. So it's grown in fresh water, then we air dry it without heat, which is why all the enzymes and the nutrients are more bioavailable and higher quality. And then we just press the water out of it into these little tablets that do look like pills, but we call them bits because they're cute and they're bits of food. Spirulina is a blue-green algae. The other algae is chlorella, which is a green algae. Spirulina gives you energy mentally and physically. It satisfies your hunger. So it's really terrific if you're doing intermittent fasting or you just can't get to a meal. It technically is a bacteria. It has no cellulose wall, so it gets absorbed almost instantly to your bloodstream if you chew it, and within minutes if you swallow it. That's why we initially were a sports nutrition company, because we found that the marathon runners and triathletes and even actually Olympic teams, and we still fuel NHL teams, they love the spirulina because they take it before the run, before their workout, before their game, for energy while they're working out without getting stomach distress. And the reason why you get energy from it is because it's has the highest concentration of B vitamins in the world that we've been able to find, the highest concentration of protein in the world, 3 times the amount of steak, all of which is already in amino acid form, because when you eat animal protein, your body has to break down the protein to aminos, which takes energy and often up to 3 days, and you only end up absorbing like maybe 10% of it. With the spirulina, there's no work for your body to break down because the aminos are already there, and they get absorbed quickly because there's no cellulose wall, and they pull along all the B vitamins that give you the energy, high concentration of iron that is what carries oxygen in your blood. And spirulina is also a vasodilator because it helps your body release nitric oxide. Nitric oxide relaxes muscles, smooth muscles like your blood vessels, so that blood and oxygen and nutrients can get to your brain and to your body much more quickly. It also has a very high amount of essential fatty acids like omega-3, and that helps reduce inflammation in your brain and your blood vessels pretty much anywhere. So spirulina is an energizing algae. If you needed one word to remember it by, energizing algae is what you want to think about. And because it has all the protein, it also helps with your skin and hair health. The animals, their coats are brighter or thicker. Your hair will grow faster. It also kills bacteria, so their breath and yours will be fresher. But in general, spirulina is an energizing algae. Now, it's really chewy because of the high protein and the high essential fatty acids, and has this earthy flavor to it. So most people do prefer to swallow it. The other algae, and so we have 2 versions of spirulina. We have ENERGYbits, which was the original. But we found that women were attracted to the packaging, and because I started, women's health is really important to me, and I want women to feel comfortable taking our spirulina. So my girlfriend said, well, you got to make it pink and give it a cute name. So we made Beauty Bits, which is exactly the same as ENERGYbits, just in a pink package, and it's really pretty. So and women love it. So whatever it takes to get this into people, because my goal is to help people stop being sick and to regain their health and their vitality. So there's 2 spirulina. The other algae is called chlorella, and it's a green algae, and it developed about almost 1 billion years after spirulina, and it truly belongs to the plant kingdom, although technically it's what you call a sea vegetable because it has none of the downsides of plants. There are some people that aren't very supportive of a plant-based diet because of it might have phytic acid in it, and there is no phytic acid in either of the algae, so it's not truly a plant. Now, what chlorella does is it builds your immune system because it has the highest concentration of chlorophyll in the world. Remember, that's what my sister's oncologist had recommended her to change her diet, because she wanted more chlorophyll in her diet to help her build her immune system. That's what chlorophyll does. And chlorella is called chlorella because of the chlorophyll in it. It has 25 times more chlorophyll than even liquid chlorophyll. And if you want something, if you're a bit of a science geek, go online and you'll see that the chemical composition of chlorophyll is virtually identical to the chemical composition of your blood. There's only one atom that's different. In your blood, it's iron, and in chlorophyll, it's magnesium. And I tell people that's got to be a tip-off of how important chlorophyll is, because it's virtually identical to your blood. And during World War II, when the injured, if they ran out of blood transfusions for the injured, they used to give them lower liquid chlorophyll and they would heal just as quickly. So chlorella, with the high concentration of chlorophyll, is very cleansing. It's a very healing algae. That's why we call ours ENERGYbits, because it helps you recover your health. But it's not just from chlorophyll, which is one of the main, is the main reason why we love chlorella so much. It also has the hardest cellulose wall in the plant kingdom. Remember, spirulina has no cellulose wall. Chlorella has the hardest cellulose wall. Now, that hard cell wall attaches to toxins and pulls them out. So it chelates them. It pulls out lead, mercury, lactic acid. So athletes take it after a workout. They take spirulina before, they take chlorella after. People take, it pulls out toxins from drinking. So if after you finished wine or liquor or anything, beer, it will pull the alcohol out of your bloodstream within an hour and a half. You're sober in an hour and a half and you never have a hangover. But it also pulls out radiation, chemotherapy. After the Fukushima disaster, the entire chlorella supply was bought up within 24 hours because everybody in Asia knows that chlorella is the only thing that pulls out radiation. So, and they used it at Chernobyl, Fukushima, Hiroshima. So this is an amazing thing, natural thing to take to pull out toxins. And there are something like 80,000 toxins, chemicals that have been released into our environment since World War II. And so we are surrounded by toxins, and these are one of the reasons why people are getting sick. So it is critical that people start taking something like chlorella every day to pull out whatever toxins you picked up that day, and to start pulling out the ones that are in your cells and in your organs, because it takes a long time to clear those toxins out of your organs because of the density of the cellular structure. I tell people taking chlorella every day is like giving your body a shower from the inside. So chlorella also has the highest concentration of tryptophan in the world, which is a precursor to melatonin. So it helps you sleep. It doesn't put you to sleep, but it helps you sleep. It has the daily requirement of vitamin K2 that pulls out calcium from soft tissue like your blood vessels in your brain and moves it into your bones where it should be. So it helps prevent osteoporosis. It also has the highest concentration of RNA and DNA in the world. Up until they discovered that, sardines were known to have the highest concentration of RNA and DNA. And that's important as you age, because your RNA to get damaged. So this helps you with your cellular regrowth to have healthy cell structures. So there's so many more things that I could tell you about chlorella, but in general, consider it a wellness algae, a wellness and detox algae compared to spirulina, which is an energizing algae. Now, the good thing about chlorella is that it tastes pretty good. And I will send you some, JJ, so that you can see it. It tastes particularly good with some sea salt on it, or if you eat it with almonds, or even better, macadamia nuts, or coconut chips or banana chips, anything. Put it in the trail mix, put it on your salads. And the reason I encourage people to do this is because then you'll see that it truly is a food. And not only is it a healthy snack, it's a healing snack. It's pulling out toxins while you're eating it. It's helping rebuild your cellular structure. It's boosting your immune system. So it's just the most amazing thing. They do completely different things. So generally we say, well, people want energy in the morning, so take your spirulina, whether it's ENERGYbits or BeautyBits, in the morning and the afternoon when you get a little bit tired and you want something fast when you're heading out the door, or you're stuck in traffic. And then take your chlorella, ENERGYbits, at night because when you sleep, your body goes through a natural detox cycle anyways. And if you've had a couple of glasses of wine, this will pull out the toxins. But that being, so we say, we have spirulina as the AM, chlorella as the PM, but that being said, just know that you can take either of them at any time of the day, whenever you want, as much as you want, with food instead of food. I mean, I have chlorella for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I have it for snacks. It's my favorite food in the world. And my skin is amazing for my age. And I attribute a lot of it to the chlorella, because one of the reasons you develop wrinkles is because your elastin starts to get damaged from excess calcium. And as I said, the chlorella pulls out excess calcium wherever it is and moves it into your bones. So my skin remarkably is pretty clear for being however old I am. So I'm so proud that we have these two algae to share with people and to explain what they do, because they're good for every age, from newborns to pregnant moms to granddads, teenagers, if they can replace your supplements, and they're a food-based replacement for your supplements, so they can. And there is spirulina is a replacement for snacks, so you'll end up reducing your grocery bill, your supplements bill, and you'll be getting the purest, cleanest, most nutrient-dense food in the world and helping the environment at the same time. Sorry, that was a long answer.
Well, I was going to ask you all those questions anyway, so it's fine. So it sounds like you can't take too many.
No, and we do sell them in these little single-serving pouches or sachets that you can get from, you can find a retailer on our website, or you can buy them from Amazon if you want to try them first. And there's 30 tablets in each one of these little pouches. They sell for $4 each. And initially we were recommending people take a full pouch a day. But that was when we were working with elite athletes, because they needed the 30 before they could feel any benefits. But now we're really moved over into the consumer world, and people are so nutrient deprived because, even if you're eating greens, our soil has no minerals left in it, so you can eat a room full of kale and you're still only getting a small amount of nutrition. Algae, spirulina and chlorella, are so nutrient dense that even if you took 3 or 4 tablets of these a day, you'd probably get more nutrition in those 3 or 4 tablets a day than you would have all week. So one of these little pouches could easily last you 2 or 3 days. You still will get the maximum benefit if you took the full 30. But even if you took, we have NHL players that take 3 or 4 pouches, they grind them up in their smoothie before a game, and they take like 75 or 100 before a game of the spirulina, and they take an equal amount after the game to pull out the lactic acid. So, and I probably have that much every day myself. So it's like I tell people, well, you can't eat too much salad, right? And algae is just a very nutrient dense vegetable. So, but it's obviously you want it to be cost effective. So we've changed and said, look, just take 3 or 4, and if you don't get enough energy from that, up it to 5 or 6. If you're still not getting enough energy from that, take 10 or 15. If that's still not doing it for you, go up to the full pouch of 30. And 99.9% of the world will feel an energy boost and clarity. So it's not just the physical energy; it's mental clarity from the 30 tablets. But yeah, there's really no upper limit, and I'm a example of that. I take so much that my blood should be green.
Well, I know that there's a detoxifying effect to the chlorophyll. So when you do take them initially, if you're not someone whose system is full of toxins and maybe your digestion's slightly off, that you can have, loose stool by having, like, when you first start. But I'm sure that once someone continues, that regulates. Yes.
Well, the spirulina, not so much. Chlorophyll is a cleanser, but it's not a detoxer. It's not a chelator. Chlorella is a detoxer and chelator. So I've not heard of anyone having loose stools from the spirulina, but chlorella is truly a chelator. So if you have a lot of toxins, for the first few days, you may find that it happens, or you might find some breakouts, and it's not really the chlorella that's causing that. What's happening is the chlorella is pulling the toxins out of your cells, or out of your organs, or out of your blood, and they're circulating in your blood. And while they're circulating, they're causing a detox reaction. So some people get mild headaches, some people have gas, but that will pass once the toxins have started to be removed, and then you're in a maintenance mode, and then you won't have any of those issues. But it's really only the chlorella that occur. People have that response to. The spirulina is very gentle. It's so gentle that I read that in Japan, if babies cannot digest mother's breast milk, they give it to them in water, and it's the only thing that seems to keep them alive. And I was always curious about that until I saw from a book from the 50s the nutrient profile of mother's breast milk, and I thought, gosh, that looks awfully familiar. And sure enough, it's almost the same nutrient profile as spirulina, same amino acids, the same proportions. So that made sense to me why newborns would benefit from it. So if newborns' digestive systems can handle spirulina, pretty much everybody can. So it's not the chlorophyll that causes any stomach distress. In fact, it's probably one of the easiest things in the world to digest. But the chlorella sometimes does have, you may want to sort of test it out. That's why we encourage people to buy the single servings for $4 if you don't want to come to our website, because we only sell the large bags that are $120. Although we have a discount code we're going to share with you at the end of the podcast, so you get 20% off. But if you don't want to buy the full bag of 1,000 tablets, it's best to experiment with the single servings first and be sure you're comfortable with what your body, how your body reacts to them. We always encourage also people to body test, muscle test rather.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that our chlorella always passes. Well, both of them do the muscle test, and we can talk about some of the differences between us and other brands. Why ours has the higher density and why you feel better from it, because there are some technical reasons. And I also think that the universe wants my algae to get out there. And I'm a Reiki healer, and I used to bless every bag before we shipped it. And there's so much love in what we do.
I can feel it. I can feel it. I mean, I'll be honest. I took a look at the price and I thought, wow, that's expensive, because I know, although I don't quite honestly remember how much I spent for the King chlorella that I bought when I was working with a medical intuitive and doing a detox. So there's been a situation that I had to go through a little bit of healing, and I was trying to do things as naturally as possible and avoid any kind of really Western medical attention. Although my life path was, I had to go through it to understand what happens on the other side. So now I understand what women are going to go through, and I have a new mission in that area. But we were focused on a very specific part of my body and detoxing, and chlorella became part of that protocol. So that's why I had a lot of chlorella on hand. But I came home and I had my sample packet, the little packets that you provided for us for Releasing What Weighs You Down, as well as to Allison and Food Heals podcast, and the ones that I'm sure that you probably sell on Amazon, the packets. And the color, the frequency, there was something about, and this is even before I heard you on anybody's show. I thought, there's something that seems a little different. It's greener. It feels brighter. Like there's just something, and it's not the packaging, it's the actual bits.
Yes.
So I did feel that, because again, so there's some people out there who are selling things at a higher price just because they thought, oh, the packaging looks nice, but the actual product itself isn't any better on the inside than it is to somebody else's version. And so I will say that I did have that intuitive hit. So I didn't know that you did Reiki as well. I think that's awesome that you blessed bags before selling them. And I also on your website did notice that you only have 4 products. I'm like, why does she only have 4 products? And it's because of your dedication. Not that I'm saying you I'd like you to have more, but you only have 4. I'm like, well, where are the other? Why isn't she doing more with this? Because it is awesome. And I think, and I agree that I'm not a plant-based diet person. Not that I eat dairy free and I'm paleo. And so there's definitely meat and acidity in my diet. I definitely drink wine. But I also do eat plenty of vegetables, and I'm that person who wants people to eat more greens, because in a paleo diet, it's supposed to be 50% vegetable and 50% plant-based, or more like 75%. Your protein and your fats are to come also from the best sources possible. So I'm also on the mission of how do we get more nutrition that is more impactful to people who may not want to deal with why they won't cook at home, why they won't eat more greens, why they won't learn to appreciate the food more. Because while I know there are people that will say, well, I don't like it. Well, you know what? You like what you expect, and you like what you're used to. And your taste buds change when your decision about what you put in your mouth changes. And so I never take that as an excuse as to why someone won't have better health or treat themselves better. And there's no person on the planet, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you eat, they can't get better nutrition from something like an algae that we don't have access to. I have a nutritionist that I work with, he's on the show often. And when we talk about sea vegetables, I mean, she loves getting in all kinds of dulse and things as much as you can because of the nutrient density of those foods. But we're well aware that not enough people eat them, and we don't have enough ways to put them in our diet. So I think that this product also provides a service like you were trying to do to help save your sister, to provide a fast and easy way to get in the most nutrients possible that no one, if you're swallowing them, they're easy to swallow, they're little, and it's like the best thing you can do for your health, no matter what your other issues are with eating healthy or whatever diet you're on. Or of course we didn't talk about, and we won't have time today to talk about, but there's the other part of getting sick and getting ill and cancer, and that's the emotional and stress side besides our toxins. But again, if we're not taking the full prong approach, because my whole approach is the mind, body, soul, if you're not taking the full prong approach, then sometimes these issues will show up in other areas of your life. But all of these issues on a physical level are also a call to action to do something about it, to make a change. And so I think it's perfect divine timing that you and your sister created this based on what was going on for her, your ability to help, and now your ability to give us all something very high quality that's easy to do. And while it's an investment, it's probably the best investment in your health you can make. That's the easiest. It requires no cooking. It requires no anything. like it's so simple. And I know most people would prefer to take food than a pill.
Right. Well, and that's why I got, I was so glad that I taught nutrition for almost a year, because I thought, well, now that I know the importance of these kinds of nutrients, everybody else will too, but people are set in their ways, and it's very difficult for them to make changes because they have so little time to experiment with how to incorporate change into their life. So when I found the algae and it came in tablets that you could swallow or chew, I thought, that's it, one and done. Open your mouth and you're good. So even if you can't change anything else about your lifestyle, it doesn't matter whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, low carb, low fiber, algae is for you. There is not a single diet or lifestyle that it doesn't fit into, whether you're a cyclist, a weightlifter, a busy mom, an athlete, just a workaholic. It's just so easy. And the fact that it's food, not a supplement, and that you don't have to cook it or clean it or do anything, it's just the easiest step to get closer to both protecting your health now and preventing illness down the road. And our children need things like this because we're showering them with so much sugar. Their poor little bodies are so inflamed, and so is their brain and ADHD, on the spectrum. I mean, it's crazy what's happening to children. And my goal with the company is to grow big enough that we eventually we'd have a foundation and we would give it away to schools and nursing homes and disaster areas. Speaking of disaster areas, we are required by the FDA to put an expiry date on it. So you'll always find an expiry date. It's usually 2 or 3 years. But I'll tell you, this stuff never goes bad. You could have this for 10 years and you could open a bag and it'd still be fine, because algae isn't like any other plant. It doesn't die when the growing conditions deteriorate. It just goes into hibernation. And then, like I read in the National Geographic, some people were up in the Antarctica and they chipped away some ice that they carbon dated to be like close to 4 billion years old. And they found some algae in it. They put the algae in a petri dish and put some water on it. Gosh, didn't start growing again. So it's the most fascinating food in the world, and the simplest way to add to your own lifestyle if you want to ensure you and your family are getting the nutrients you need to protect yourself, because our world and our food chain is badly damaged. And this will keep you in whatever food lifestyle you chose. We were just at a big keto conference in Los Angeles, and we were so excited because the scientists embrace us from the keto world. Also partly because I'm also the chief scientific officer, so I give them all the science. We do third-party lab tests. We test for BMAA, which is neurotoxins. We give them everything they need to see that it's not smoke and mirrors, that we have the science. Anything we say that this stuff does is documented with articles from NIH about algae doing, helping prevent cancer or helping, improve athletic performance or whatever. So we're really buttoned up. And that's why it's taken me 10 years to get to this point, is because I wanted to be sure we had the science so I could explain it to people thoroughly. Because remember, I didn't come from a nutrition background, so I had to teach myself all this stuff too. And we recently rebranded and repackaged because the product has always worked amazingly well. but we still weren't helping people feel more comfortable with it. So we recently redid everything, and I can hardly wait to send you some of our new packaging, because it's very welcoming, it's very mainstream, it's very happy, and I want people to feel as happy when they take the package out of their fridge or out of their handbag or out of the gym bag as what the product does for your body. So it's end-to-end great experience. So it's really exciting.
I had done a 5-day fasting mimicking diet in my inner circle. I've got sort of like my super fans that are in an inner circle that I just actually launched back in December. And there, while I worked with the Prolon kit, which is also
Yes, I did that.
right. So, and Jeannie had come on the show and we talked about fasting mimicking diet and all the benefits, because I'm not a dieter for dieting reasons when weight loss is the only thing, right? For the fasting mimicking diet has so many health benefits, longevity benefits. And one of the things that after I understood about the bits, that we could incorporate the bits. So that was really cool. So I have both, you can get the Prolon kit because we're doing it again in the inner circle in March. And I encourage people to either get the package if you've never done it first. And then we also, Jeannie created the diet plan if you want to do it on your own. Well, you can go to Whole Foods and get all the things that you need. And she's compared all the macros and all the ingredients. But again, having the bits this time made it even easier to do, which was really cool. And so now I can recommend that people also do that as well, because it can help with the hunger and again, just generally the nutrition. I don't love all the foods on the program, no matter which way I'm doing it, whether I'm doing it a DIY or I'm buying the program, because I don't eat a lot of beans. But I definitely appreciate all the health benefits. And I loved being able to, between intermittent fasting, which I normally do as well, and the fasting mimicking diet, having this as a supplement / food / detoxer / energy provider during low times of food. Right. And something like that. So you had mentioned earlier in the show that you even learned, like you have a love affair with algae and that you have even learned more things recently. Is there anything that you haven't mentioned that's a new discovery for you?
Well, the K2 was the most recent big one. I don't know if your listeners know much about K2. It's a nutrient that was only discovered 25 years ago at Harvard, and it's similar to K1, but also very, very different. And virtually everyone in North America is deficient in K2, and the reason for that is there's very few food sources that have vitamin K2 in it. The traditional one was grass-fed animal protein. And we were fine because until the 70s. And the reason why it's an animal protein is because animals have a bacteria in their gut that can convert K1. Now, K1 is in anything that's green, kale or grass or whatever. The animals have a bacteria that can convert K1 to K2. So when we eat the animal protein that was grass-fed, we absorb the K2. There's another source called natto, which is a dish that's primarily found in Japan, but it's really slimy and kind of gross, and virtually nobody here eats it. And so, but I found out recently when I learned about K2 that it's in the algae, particularly the chlorella. There's a daily requirement of K2 in the chlorella. So the reason why virtually everyone is deficient in K2 is because until the 60s, we were fine because the animals were on pastures, munching away, getting their grass. And then when we ate the animal protein, we got the K2. And then in the early 70s, the farmers discovered that if they put all the animals in enclosures and fed them corn, they would get fatter faster and they would make more money. So that's what they did. So of course, corn is not green. And so our global suppliers, the North American supply of K2 in our diet instantly disappeared. And it coincides, interestingly, with the rise of heart disease, which brings me to what K2 does. K2, as I mentioned earlier, moves calcium out of soft tissue into your bones. They're realizing that a lot of heart disease is actually calcification of your blood vessels. Alzheimer's, they're realizing, is partly calcification of your brain. If you have any kind of kidney stones, it's calcification that's attaching to phytic acid and wrinkles, as I mentioned earlier, calcification of your elastin. So K2 has two proteins that are activated to move all this calcium out of soft tissue and into your bones. So at the same time, it prevents osteoporosis. And basically 80 to 90% of osteoporosis cases are women, because our bones are naturally thinner than men anyways. And there's virtually no supply of K2 in our diet, but it is in the algae and twice as much. So your daily requirement in the chlorella. I was stunned when I found out that it was in the chlorella, and actually I felt like a proud mother. Oh my gosh, my algae has K2 in it as well. You can buy supplements for K2 now, but they're made from excuse me, fermented chickpeas. And K2 is a complicated nutrient. There's different types. There's M4 and M7 and M11. And the only type that your brain can absorb comes from food. So even though you're buying these supplements, K2 supplements, you will not get the one that helps your brain unless you're eating grass-fed animal protein or taking the chlorella. So, so that was a really big, fine discovery for me. The other recent one, actually, I found out from, thanks to a chiropractor. We work a lot with chiropractors and functional medicine. And they told me that they were really excited about the spirulina because it had boron. Apparently boron is very difficult to find, and it's a mineral, and it's only in the spirulina, not in the chlorella. And the importance of boron is that it protects your myelin sheath. So it is known for helping with your brain health, processing thoughts. And what's been happening is glyphosate, which is used everywhere. It contains aluminum. And what the aluminum does is it nudges out any boron that's naturally in any other foods or in your brain and replaces it with aluminum, which of course causes dementia and lots of other brain disorders. So anything that contains boron, like the spirulina, will help bring back the health of your brain. And it's apparently a very difficult mineral to find. So I was really and that was only just a couple of months ago that I found out about that. So that was kind of a new thing for me. So those are the two most current ones. But the things like the spirulina has an an essential fatty acid called GLA, which is technically an omega-6, but it behaves like an omega-3 in the algae because it's not heat. It hasn't been processed. So, and what GLA is it's an essential fatty acid for your brain, and the only place that has more GLA than spirulina is mother's breast milk. And the reason why it's in such high quantity in the breast milk is because the baby's brain doubles or triples in size within the first couple of years after birth. And so it's an important essential fatty acid to facilitate that brain growth. Well, we all need healthy brains at all times, and you can't have mother's breast milk after the age of 2. So I'm very proud that it's in the spirulina, and it is the highest concentration of GLA, second only to mother's breast milk. You can find it also in borage oil in smaller quantities, but then when you take something like borage oil, you're not getting all the other 40 vitamins and minerals that are in the spirulina. I call algae efficient nutrition. It gives you just about everything you need in one swoop. So whatever your reason you're taking it for, maybe you want it to help improve your sports, but it's also going to improve your brain health. It's also going to reduce inflammation. It's also going to help build your blood. Maybe you're taking the chlorella because you want to pull out the excess wine after a few cocktails at the end of the evening, but at the same time, you're also going to be pulling out excess calcium. You're also going to be giving your body RNA and DNA to facilitate cellular growth. You're also going to be giving it chlorophyll to heal the cell walls. Chlorophyll, by the way, is a fat-based pigment. This is another discovery I made. And the reason why that's important is because your cell walls and your mitochondria, that's where all the action is. That's where your deterioration or your improvement in your health begin. And you have to keep those cell walls healthy, and healthy fats facilitate that. And chlorophyll is a fat-based pigment. So what it does, and everyone says greens are cleansing. Well, this is what's cleansing about it. It heals the cell walls so that nutrients can get in and toxins can get out. And that allows your mitochondria to stay healthy. So whatever purpose you're taking the algae for, there's about 50 other things it's going to do for you. So not only do I call it efficient nutrition, I call it intelligent food, because you have to be intelligent to take it, and it knows what to do in your body. It is the most remarkable food. And I've written about 100 papers on various things that it does. And as I said, there's 100,000 studies, and I have access to 2,000 of them that I can give anybody the links to. So,
Well,
so you
I'd
can
like
see
some
the
of them to
science.
publish on the site. So if you
Yeah.
can send me, just because then that way I can also link them to the show. And so, of course, now with your passion, enthusiasm, and loads of information about why we all need to and want to be taking the energy bits, both the spirulina and the chlorella, why don't you tell them where to get it? And of
Yeah.
course, the discount code is going to be JJ, but go ahead.
You bet. So our website is www.energybits, B for boy, I, T for Tom, S for Sam.com, energybits.com. And we sell them in large bags of 1,000 tablets. They're 120, but with the 20% discount code JJ, just put that in the shopping cart. It works on everything all the time. You'll get 20% off, so it brings it down to $96. You can also buy single servings or the box, individual single servings or boxes of them or bags on Amazon. And if you have any question or hesitation, I would just, you can get Prime shipping. So try this, just buy a couple for $8 and feel comfortable with what you're getting, and then swing back to the website to use the discount code. And by the way, if you buy 4 bags or more, you get free shipping on our website. We're also very active on social. So visit us at Instagram. Our handle is at ENERGYbits. We also have one at BeautyBits. Facebook is ENERGYbits. Twitter is ENERGYbits. We always have promotions and giveaways on our Instagram stream. So that's cool. And yeah, we're just very eager to educate people, share the knowledge. I'll send you a ton of stuff, JJ, and you can choose what you want to put on, because there's a lot. We don't want to overwhelm people. But as you learn more about algae and see, another time we can talk about some of the processes I have instituted to ensure the safety and quality and purity. And that's, and not to mention the love that's gone into building the company. I think those things are what distinguish us from other companies. We don't sell anything else because we want to go deep and understand what we have, so we can share that knowledge, so we eliminate mystery and just help people get healthy. That's pretty much it.
Well, I appreciate it. And yes, there's lots of conversations as I was sitting here. I'm realizing, I'm like, okay, I could put this on health and wealth also, although we didn't really talk about your health journey, but we talked about your sister's health journey. And, but again, there's lots to talk about. And obviously the main lesson here is there is no better food or nutritional supplement for everyone to have. So please go get your Energy Bits, use the coupon code JJ to get 20% off. And, she has a bag that's both the combination. So if you don't know where to start, I would suggest starting with the combination, the Vitality Bits, right? That has both 50% chlorella and 50% spirulina.
Correct.
And just get the big bag, because then you can try it on your family, on your cats, on your dogs, on your kids, and just experiment and see, from 5 a day to 30 a day to 100 a day, depending on what your goals are. And then maybe we can even do a show or sort of look at the prescription for each thing and why. I mean, I know we kind of talked about all of it today, but your passion, my passion, we both talk fast. Everyone's like, wait a minute, that's so much information. I have to listen to the show 2 more times just to get it. So I think I'd like to slow it down, and at another time, look at maybe case studies and the application of each one of them. That would be really cool. So Catherine, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for participating in my event. And I am going to feature your product in my swag bag giveaway in April. So hopefully we can talk about that.
Yeah. And let's be sure people get the book Food Heals, because JJ's chapter and my chapter are back to back. So it's a great resource.
Absolutely. And I'll put a link in the show notes for that as well. Catherine, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, JJ. All the best to you. Take care.